the Chinese language. Learn Cantonese phrases for beginners. Today, I am going to talk about greetings and useful phrases. If you have not done so already, I highly recommend you to download our mobile app called Cantonese Phrases Beginners 1. This app contains flashcards, quizzes, lecture notes for various learning modules that pertains to the very beginner in the Cantonese language. The app is completely free and it works on both iPhone and Android. So let's start with the most basic of all first. How do you refer to each other? So when I'm referring to myself, which is I or me, I would say 我. So you've got like this little N sound that comes out from your nose. Again, for I, me, it's called 我. Now, when you're referring to you, you would say 你. Now, if you're referring to him or her, we actually would say 佢. Now, this is different from Mandarin, where Mandarin would say it's 他. We could say it, but it's a bit non-conventional and it'll be a bit weird when you say it among Cantonese people. So we usually say 佢. Now for them, we would say 佢哋. So they is more of like a plural form of him and her. Now this is again different from a bit with the Mandarin or the written language. However, this is what in Cantonese what we say normally and naturally, and if we follow the written language, it would be a bit weird. And lastly, for if we're referring to us or we would say 我哋, which is more or so the plural of I. So now on with the most basic greetings and useful phrases in the Cantonese language, starting with hello. So in Cantonese, actually, there's a really easy phrase for hello, and normally Cantonese people just say hello, which is the English format for hello. But the more traditional way of them saying hello is actually 你好, which if you've seen in the previous slide, 你 means you. Ho means good. So basically is hello in Cantonese when we say 你好 means you good. Now the next one, how are you? It's really similar to that hello. So we just add ma in the end. So if hello is 你好, how are you is 你好嗎? But this is really not, we don't really say this often. How are you? as in 你好嗎, because it's more of like a written language than what we usually say conventionally. So now let me teach you a more informal way on how to say how are you, which is usually found in like, let's say, Hong Kong and all the places that speak Cantonese, which is 點啊你. Now it's really hard to explain, and I recommend you not to remember this yet until we get into more advanced presentations. But just remember that 點啊你 is a more informal and conventional way on saying how are you, and people that speak Cantonese get used to this way on saying how are you. So now let's move on to the next one. Nice to meet you. Now this is a really long. So nice to meet you in Cantonese is actually called 好高興認識你. So I guess you would recognize two words in here, which is 好 and 你. So 好 means good and 你 means you, right? So now with the other interpretation of the words, 高興 actually goes together. It's two different Chinese words, but it goes together to form a phrase called happy. So, and 認識 is two separate Chinese words again, but they form the phrase meet. So 好高興認識你, this phrase is actually translated as good, good, happy, meet you. That's how in Cantonese it would be translated when it's going back to English. Good morning in the Cantonese it's called 早晨, and good afternoon is called 午安, and good night is 晚安. There's also another informal way on saying good night, in which you may not want to memorize it right now because it's quite different, and it's just a more conventional way on saying good night, and that is 早唞. For the phrase see you later, in Cantonese we would say 再見. So 再 is again, and 見 is see. So if you translate that into English, it's called again see, which doesn't really make sense when you translate that to English, but in Cantonese that's what it's called. So see you later is 再見. Now thanks, usually we would say 多謝. So 多 is more or less saying very. 謝 means thanks. So if you translate that into English, it's called many thanks or very thanks or whatever, right? So now thank you, you just add you in the end. So adding lay to the end of what thanks on this slide. So thank you, you would say 多謝你. Thank you is 多謝你. Now the last one, Again, it's a bit hard because it's a bit long too. So for excuse me, we would say 唔好意思. Excuse me is 唔好意思. This concludes our lecture. Thank you for your listening. Remember, like us or subscribe to our channel for more updates on our lecture materials. Also, download our free app for your iPhone or Android if you have not already done so, for flashcards and quizzes that are related to this lecture. Also check out our website as shown in our video description on YouTube for apps and lectures for other units. Thank you. Bye-bye.